Hello, and welcome. Waiting for eight if anyone wants to hop in. Running a big board. Big news today with the Xavier Worthy suspension news. Really, or rather, arrest news. Really disappointing to hear that. Not just from a big board perspective, but from a real life perspective. Hope everything gets sorted out there. And everyone involved is okay. But we move on. What I just clicked. All right. Somehow we're back and we're waiting for 6. We got the Ducks rolling. Gonna try to do 2, but may only have time to run 1 draft today. Excited to do it. DraftKings opened their pre-draft contest. I really like the structure of it, but I'm not actually sure if they are if they're closing it at the draft. And based on the way I read the rules, I don't think they are. It looks like it starts on the 4th. No one cares. Oh my goodness. Well, if you are way too close to maxing the big board and you've already maxed the little board, any port in a storm, as they say. So I have run a few of the DraftKings contests early. Very similar to Underdog. I think the people who are doing DraftKings this early are people who are maxing Underdog stuff like me. So it's pretty sweaty, the rooms. There's not like huge values. The only weird thing is for some reason they had Josh Allen ranked at 8. He's down to 12 in ADP. I suspect the ADPs are going to align pretty. They're going to align pretty close to Underdog. They're always a little different because it's full PPR over on DK, and I don't know if the best ball landscape yet has really, kind of worked out the difference in that, but they typically do end up being different in those 2 contests. Yes, I was saying that DK opened their pre-draft contest, but it's not clear if it actually locks when the draft starts. I don't think it does. I emailed them to find out, and I'm not holding my breath for a response, but if I get one, I'll share it here and over in the Matic Discord. So, waiting on 1. Kevin, thanks for swinging by. I wanted to do this a little later, but this is the only time I really have today to get on and stream. But I'll probably be doing another big board or 2 off stream later. So I'll let you know if I'm hopping in there. So waiting for 1. Let's see. I see your comment over in the Matic Discord. Yes, I'm happy to run some on DraftKings with you as well. I'd like to say we're getting ADP value, but again, it's really been the same. I did get Raheem Sanders in the 20th today, which, again, it's like, not writing home about, but you can't do that on Underdog anymore. So some of the late rookie running backs aren't quite as steamy, but they're just, the rooms are a little weird. Like tight end goes mad early. If you wait till late tight end over there, I've noticed you can get like completely frozen out to where you're telling yourself, Michael Mayer stories, who I don't hate taking, but like you're taking him because there's like nobody left down there. I think it will lock. They're trying to keep up with that Underdog cash flow pre-draft. I hope it does, right? Because it's going to be really wonky if you have people drafting with full information. I assume the people drafting now would have the edge because some of them are just going to luck their way into a stack of rookie running backs and receivers that you can't get once the draft happens. You're also going to have a lot more dead teams that you take now. So it's a little bit weird. Like, I think if it does stay open, you'd want runners and just accept that you're going to have dead teams. That's how I'd play it, but we will see. Just take Bowers and your boy Gino, and you're set anyway. That's what people are saying now. I see you, Kevin, there at the 4 hole. I am here picking at 2. I've seen this Razor 33. I know I've drafted with him before. All badges here, mostly red badges. Again, not surprising, a Saturday in early March that it's going to be the true hardos on here. But hopefully not too many auto drafters. I'm going to take Bijan over Saquon. I think I like Bijan a little more than Saquon. I think it's fine to take either. I have quite a bit of both. I'm not fading Saquon by any means, but I think last time I checked my exposure, I had slightly more Saquon than Bijan, and my true ranking is Bijan should be higher. More involved in the pass catching role. Saquon did run really hot with long touchdowns, which obviously is a feature, not a bug of taking Saquon, because he does have that breakaway ability. But that can regress a little bit. Mix it up, take someone from the far side. I did that my last stream. I took Neighbors at 3. I like to do that a lot because I think you can really vary who you get in the second round. And if you said, Neighbors was the wide receiver 2 after Chase, or even, ends as the wide receiver 1, you're not surprised. And you can get some unique combos. So I'm all about flipping the board. You just want to make sure you do it thoughtfully so that you don't end up just like skipping out on a second or third round pick, which you can do sometimes. If you kind of foul it up, you can just make bad combinations that someone who catches a faller later can, and then you're just like really behind. But I think taking Lamb or Puka or Amon-Ra in the top, in 2, 3, and 4 is a good way to get really different at times. Big fall for Lamb here, going at 9, kind of interesting run out. I like Lamb quite a bit, but all of these guys are great picks here. So there goes A-Chain and Neighbors at 12. Neighbors seems like he's a little bit of a faller in the past day. I think maybe because the chips are starting to fall into place. Gino, I don't think Gino was ever going to go to New York, but now that he's in Vegas, it seems like Seattle might end up with Darnold, so Darnold won't be in New York in all likelihood, which I think Neighbors drafters would be excited about Darnold going there. So I have seen him slip a little bit, but I'm still more than happy to take him. I mean, he produced with Drew Lock and Daniel Jones, so more than happy to do that. Jonathan Taylor at 16. That is a little bit of a rise for Taylor. He often goes in the early 20s, but don't hate that. I guess he's up to 19.9. And again, him and Lamb is not going to be the most common. Actually, no, that is pretty common, because most people would get Lamb at 6 and then Taylor at 22 or whatever the opposite is. So that will be common, but maybe his third round pick could be a little bit unique pairing if they catch a little bit of ADP value. Bowers going at 18. He's been pulled up lately in the past few drafts, but I guess not in this room. I know, Kevin, you would have happily snapped him up there at 21, but 21 is pretty late for Bowers in these drafts. Lad at 19. I've come around to a little bit of Lad risk. It seems like they're going to add somebody, and I don't know if the market's really pricing that in. I think he could be a faller if one of the high-end rookies goes there, or if they add like a Devontae Adams or someone, one of the higher end players. So I am up here This is a little unfortunate because I really don't like Tyreek. Um, I think I'm going to take... Oof. All right, I'm going to go double running back start. I don't do this very often, but I'll mix it up a little. I'll take Bijan and Jacobs and certainly take a receiver next. And hopefully Garrett Wilson. Maybe I should have taken Garrett Wilson first because I really don't want Tyreek. And now with Worthy, there's a little more risk at Worthy. I definitely don't want to take him up at 26. JSN might be dealing with some serious quarterback downgrade. It's possible, like if the Darnold thing doesn't pan out, they could end up with like a Jackson Dart going there. I like Jackson Dart quite a bit, but I think, you know, there's a chance that that's not as good for JSN as Gino was. So, you know, this little pocket here is definitely seeing some risk. I haven't adjusted the ranking since the Worthy news broke. My inclination is to buy the dip on Worthy. It's not entirely clear that the NFL will do anything until the legal system plays out. We really don't have all the facts. You know, DA and DV kind of stuff can be really touchy and fact dependent. And when you have families involved, again, we don't even know if this is family. You could have cases where witnesses, you know, in the heat of the moment, the police show up and then there's an arrest, and then the next day, like, everybody involved wants it to go away. And sometimes that happens for better or worse. I'm just, you know, saying on how these often can play out. And so it's really unclear as to, you know, what happened and what the fallout's going to be. So I'd be hesitant to jump to any serious conclusions on what's going to happen with Worthy until, you know, more information comes forward. Just ruined my draft if Jaden doesn't come back to me. I disagree with that. I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, like we were just saying, you know, there's a little more risk in some of these guys. I think McLaurin without Daniels isn't the end of the world. You know, he's somebody that they were looking to in the end zone. You know, his touchdown efficiency was really high, but again, you know, that's sometimes a feature, not a bug. I mean, players that tend to score touchdowns, that can be a little stickier than one might imagine. So I've got no problem with him there. I that is to say, I don't take a ton of him, but I don't mind the pick at all. I think Debo, I'm in the camp that Debo coming there is about as good a second receiver as you could get. I think he's going to command a lot of attention from defenses. I think he could potentially open things up for McLaurin. So I do want to be taking a little more McLaurin. Again, especially with some uncertainty with other receivers. You, though, may be in trouble because this is pretty QB thirsty. I mean, I've seen Hurts go in the 50s. Allen at 34 is like where he should go, but he'll fall. So if someone wants elite QB, it's Daniels or bust, brother. Ugh, I'm sorry. Hurt feelings takes him. And, you know, I have to say, for hurting feelings taking him, I really don't like that pick for him because Goff, Penix, and Baker are all like obvious QBs you can add, and they all go in a reasonable range. Like, I like taking Daniels more when I have, you know, Devontae or, you know, I guess I wouldn't have Devontae yet, but when I have a little more uncertainty or I have a quarterback that I'm not excited to stack, then I'm more inclined to add Daniels there. Yeah, Worthy at 42 is a pretty big dip there. That is a little unfortunate. But yeah, I guess Garrett Wilson would be an example of a quarterback where I'd be a high-end receiver where I'd be more likely to take Daniels because I don't know who to stack Wilson with. And if I get Daniels unstacked, I'm okay with it. But let's see how Kevin recovers from this mini setback that he faces as PC lead takes us down. Not quite to double zeros, takes a Dunze. So Kevin is up and takes historical anomalies. Thank you for stopping by. Light the candles, indeed. Light the candles. This was the only time I could hop on today. So here I am, and really happy that you all could stop by. Kevin here, friend of the Discord, takes Ted McMillan. I like that pick. I think that makes sense there. I am likely to add two receivers in this pocket, as much as I am really tempted to take Hampton. That temptation is ripped from me as the guy before me takes him. So I'm going to take Devontae Adams. I really like him. I think his game will age gracefully. Don't know where he's going to go. Don't really care. I think he's going to be okay. I'm fine taking Flowers there. I generally like taking Flowers with Lamar, but it's not a must. I think Flowers might be my preference here. If not, then I'll take Waddle. Where am I picking next, actually? 71 and 74 is still fertile ground for receiver. There's quite a bit of receivers there I like. I'm going to actually take George Kittle here. I've been taking a lot of Kittle. I think he should have risen more than he has been with the Ayuk trade demand, with the Debo departure, and he's so good and so consistent. I like Kittle in the 50s. The Tet offensive, yes. I don't know. It's funny because like they're saying that Tet would have been like the wide receiver 5 last year, which is a little concerning because he's kind of going, I think, higher than the wide receiver 5 did last season. But I like Tet quite a bit. I mean, he had his best friend throwing to him at Arizona. He could have left to a bigger program, and he still produced with a quarterback with absolutely zero chance of going to the NFL on a pretty crummy Wildcat team. So I like Tet quite a bit, and I'm more than happy to add him to most of my wide receiver rooms. But I do see the potential bear case for him. Not the most athletic player. It's unclear if he's even going to do some of the athletic testings at his pro day. I mean, it is one of those situations where it is all downside when you're projected to be the wide receiver 1, assuming we're not talking about a Hunter as a wide receiver. But it is potentially a little concerning that he's just unwilling to run any of the athletic drills. Best landing spot for Ted. I mean, I had been thinking it would be New England for a long time. They really are in dire need of a wide receiver 1, and I'm pretty high on Drake May. I think he makes a ton of sense there. So I think that would probably be my preferred spot. But yeah, it seems like I haven't heard a lot of head to New England like I used to. I'm a little worried that New England would take Hunter and want him to play wide receiver. That's kind of my nightmare big board scenario. Yeah, what a weird year for MHJ, right? I mean, he didn't have a horrible season if we didn't draft him with the hype we took him, or at the 1-2 turn. But I remember a game where like his top ball carrier speed was like 14 miles an hour, which is really slow. And again, I think that was a little bit of FUD, and after that game he was quite a bit better. But I do remember there being some worry that he might not have been the athlete we all thought he was. That said, I like him as a pick this year because we're getting him at a huge discount, and I think sometimes we forget that players can improve year to year. But yeah, definitely a little bit of a, maybe not a red flag, maybe like an orange flag or like a light red flag to me. But again, I want to be at market there. I probably should be taking more like Chris Olave over him, which I don't do as much as I should. So coming up here, Debo goes. Debo would have been an interesting pick. The real question for me is Ridley or Luther Burden. I like Ridley quite a bit. I think their pass catching situation in Tennessee is going to be better. And there's a lot of receivers in this range. I like Burden. I like Igbuka. I can take Golden. Myers now has some, better quarterback play. So this, I'm perfectly happy letting the market decide, because I imagine this guy's probably going to take a couple of receivers in this range as well. Greg, GM, thank you for stopping by. Yeah, the next week he went for a long TD, but didn't see many long ones after. Yeah, again, it's like, it's hard to know what's game plan and game script versus what's like he wasn't getting open. And I have to confess, I did not go back and like watch all of the tape. So Myers goes there. I think I'm going to take Luther Burden. He's a guy that JJ Zacharyson is very high on, and if he's in on a guy, then who am I to disagree? He is definitely one of the most in-depth film watchers, and his draft guide is coming out very soon, and I will definitely be getting that when it comes out. But he has spoken highly on Luther Burden. I've heard in some other people talking about Burden as more of like a manufactured touches gadget guy. I think that's the potential FUD. Igbuka is a little more of just like your straight edge wide receiver prospect, but I'll take the swing on Burden. I think Burden had a pretty decent combine all told. So yeah, we're seeing Golden creep up. He was in the 90s. He's up to 78. He, I think, would have been a fine pick. The chatter of him being the first receiver off the board. Don't know how true that'll be. A lot of these are going to be very landing spot dependent. Get your Gesicki's while people are sleeping. Craig, I'm awake, and I don't know what's the Gesicki news. Did he get extended, or did he get traded? I missed that. Kitchen said Monday for JJ's release, but might drop early. Awesome. I'm excited for that. I will definitely be getting that when it comes out. Oh, good contract for Gesicki. Re-signed for 3 years. Well, I had a choice today between Gesicki and like Michael Mayer, and I think I took Michael Mayer. So that was bad. That did not turn out good for me. But no, I have a little bit of Gesicki, and that's good info because yeah, that definitely shows some commitment. Wow, 3 year, $25 million. All right, and that's an offense you want pieces of where possible. I'm a little surprised because Cincinnati has shown pretty big willingness to work in other tight ends. Tanner Hudson was getting involved, but he's never going to take over a tight end role. And I think they really like Eric All, but he's going to miss the entirety of next year. And frankly, now when you have a rookie who's going to miss the first 2 years of their career, and I think he had a college injury, it might just be over for him before it began, which is always kind of sad. The inline blocking guy to a 1 year deal. Oh my gosh, I think I've rostered this guy in showdown contests, so I should know his name. But it's I don't know if it's Drew Sample you're talking about, or like some other guy who would be $200 on a Thursday Amazon Prime game. But yeah, all right. So that is good info. Thanks for that. Looking at my potential quarterback stacks, I don't know who the quarterback in the Jets are going to be. I don't know what team Adams or Burden's going to go for. and we don't know what quarterback is going to be throwing to the Titans. So this just tells me I can draft whatever quarterback I want and tell myself whatever fantastical tales that they are the quarterback for for my receivers. Kevin is up. Let's take a quick look at Kevin's team here. Gibbs and Judkins at running back. Moore, McLaurin, Ted McMillan, Flowers, and Ayuk at receiver. I am going to just take Brock Purdy to pair with George Kittle. I don't think this guy is going to take Purdy, but people can be really QB thirsty. Nobody is really sticking out to me as a must draft. Maybe Aaron Jones, but I'm not going to be devastated if I don't get Aaron Jones here. I like Mark Andrews. I think this is a pretty big fall for him, but I don't know if I want to go double elite. I don't know if I want to go double elite tight end on this team. I think what I would do is probably add a Mooney or a Shaheed to this crew. Maybe I'll add. I'm going to add Mooney. I think I normally take a little more Shaheed. I think Shaheed as a fifth receiver is a really good fifth receiver because he's, he can be a slate breaker. Obviously, we're all worried about the meniscus injury. I did hear he was back doing football workouts, so that seems like a good sign. But it is still a little rich for a guy coming off a season-ending knee injury who really is reliant on speed. I think one should be taking him. I'm also worried Mooney is just a guy. And, he had a really good year last year. Remains to be seen how sticky that was. He was kind of hurt for when Penix took over, which makes it a little hard to judge how he did. We saw Drake London was an absolute target hog with Mooney off the field. Don't know how that's going to break out. But again, as a fifth receiver, I am happy to do that. It's not Gesicki, so I don't know. He went to high school down the road with me. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah. I know we're finally going to get some real information starting next week with the tampering period. I think opens Monday and then actual free agency on Wednesday or Thursday. I think that's right. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but we'll start getting some more landing spot news on these free agents, which is going to change a lot. I kind of find that when the free agents start landing places, people start getting nervous about the rookies because it feels like a game of musical chairs and the chairs are being filled. And it kind of happens every year, as if some of these guys aren't going to get a spot. We know these free agents, like Najee Harris is going to be on a team, J.K. Dobbins is going to be on a team, but then they go somewhere and they're like, well, now they're not going to draft a running back. And, it is funny that we think the market prices things in, and then the market, if we find out the market did not price that in at all. Tyler, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I have to say, I was reluctant to go live when you were on because you have been such a friend to this small channel, but this is literally the only hour block I had. So it was either that or not stream. And I did want to get a stream in today. I was watching yours until the Fantasy Sanctuary, one of the best watches out there. It was a great show today. So I just want to shout you guys out and say that I was a little torn, but I did need to get this one out here. Where do I think Ingram lands? Oh boy. I'm in the view that the Jets desperately need a grown man at tight end for that team. So I could see him being a Jet. Conklin, as I found out yesterday, is a free agent, and I don't. I think that makes sense for when they're trying to kind of be in a bit of a rebuild. But I don't know their cap situation well enough to know if they realistically could absorb what he's going to command. So I am up. I'm going to take this fall on J.K. Dobbins and hope he lands somewhere good. Adding him to my room of Bijan, Jacobs, and Dobbins. And next up, let's see. I'm picking at 122 and then not again until 143. So if I want this little mini pocket of quarterbacks, it is kind of now or never. I think with Purdy, quarterback is not necessarily the world's biggest priority. Penix is certainly interesting because I do have Mooney and Pitts will line up with my next pick. But I think I'm going to take the chance on a Trey Harris. I tend to go a little wide receiver heavy earlier, and I went RB. So I feel like I need to catch up at receiver. So I'm going to add Harris to this team. He had a pretty good combine. And so I feel good about this wide receiver room from where it started. When you leave the third round with only Garrett Wilson, it can feel a little dicey, but I think didn't do such a bad job catching up. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good stream. We step on toes. It happens only so many hours in the day, and it's a saturated market. People are hungry for streams. This is true. I find myself pretty stream hungry. I can be up at odd hours and just like scrolling YouTube and just trying to watch someone stream drafts. Just, it is funny seeing people talk about different stuff, like Best Ball Guy on your stream just fudding the heck out of Juwan Jennings. And I love Juwan Jennings. And I feel like most streams I watch, everyone's in on him. So it's like, all right, there is a bear case to be made. I don't agree with the bear case, but I am, I'm glad to hear it and try to pick things up from other streams so that I don't end up drafting, we have 12 draft spots and then I just end up drafting the same team, every time I get a slot, kind of picking the same guys in the same range, trying to mix it up. I love some back and forth disagreements. You got to, right? No one tunes into, everybody agreeing. That's why I like the Liam and Davis stream. It's so funny. Their banter is so good. And I think if they just were both Bills fans, it would not work. So I hear that. So yeah, chat, feel free to roast these picks. So I can spice it up. Get those clicks. But yeah, seeing that pocket of QBs go here, Stroud, Tua, Stafford, Dak, all going within 7 picks here. Penix is still out there, but I don't think he will make it 13 picks back to me. Just quickly pulling up the draft board, see if anything really stands out. This balling out guy loves running backs. My God, do they have any? What are they doing? They have one wide receiver. They have Cortland Sutton, and then they go triple tight end. Dear God. Well, I'm glad I got a Kittle where I did, because tight end is going to be a little thinner than normal probably with people trying to catch up there. This guy got a nice deal on Dak when he got a falling lamb. Nothing else really standing out as too weird. This guy taking naked Stroud. I think we're going to see that a little more with Kirk having gone to Houston. People are more in on Stroud. I've liked Stroud this whole process. I mean, we were taking him in the 5th, 6th round last year, had a down year, but they still made the playoffs despite pretty much everything going wrong, disastrous injuries. I think that they're going to be better. Plus, again, I'm woke to the dome team in the fantasy playoffs, and they will have at least one dome game out of the 3. They're not going to play 3 road games outside. And they're definitely, or I think they're going to be better than they were last season, and hopefully Stroud is better. It was a little weird watching him late at the season. It felt like he was overthrowing short passes, which was weird to see. But we will see what happens. People really frequently late will go Penix and then Pitts as this backdoor emergency stack. I will be pretty surprised if one of Yep. All right. PC lead does it. Kevin snaps off Cedric Tillman there. Let's see what iBone does. So I think I'm going to take Cam Ward here, because I do think he's going to be the Titans quarterback ultimately. Even if they trade down, I think that's where he's going to end up. If not, I'm wrong. What are you going to do? But I do like Cam Ward there, and I think he's going to be starting for pretty much the whole season. JJ McCarthy goes next to the Aaron Jones drafter. And let's see. So I can feel like I can take most positions. This is pretty heavy running back range. I have not updated the rankings or used Davis's updated rankings in a while. Evan Ingram is a little bit tempting at this point, but I think I'm going to take Rico Dowdle here and add one more running back before we're in the total rookie dart throw. Sounds like he's going to be back in Dallas, probably backing up either Gene T or Hampton or someone, of that ilk. The smoke after Geno went to the Raiders is that they're going to take Gene T. Who knows if that's really true. But I do think Dowdle will be back in Dallas, and he was serviceable enough last year. And if he's not, then he might have some first and second down plotter role in a team, and can grind out 800 yards and 6 touchdowns, and hopefully spikes the weeks we need him. So Kevin takes Tootin. I considered taking Tootin there. I think if I was drafting a little later, I don't know why mentally taking him in the 150s feels better than the 140s. It shouldn't. That's a really stupid blocker for me. But, if I wanted him on this team, that was the time to take him. I was at about 16% Tootin pre-combine, so I'm going to end up at less than that because I backed off of him. But I certainly see the allure. I mean, he was definitely the big winner in the running backs, at least maybe not in real life, right? He was the big winner for us big board in March slappies. Who knows what if he's going to be the big winner in the NFL, this guy could still be, drafted in day 3 and be buried on a depth chart. That's not a stone cold lock to not be what happens. But it does seem like he's, at least in all the mocks now, has risen quite a bit. And I liked him even before he tested as well as he did. Seeing Ingram fall, people are definitely a little out on him. I know Davis said he was going to move him down in his rankings. I was pretty sure he would be back in Jacksonville, at least one of him or Kirk, and that didn't happen. I see. I wanted Cam, but you took him, so I shifted to Tootin. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, part of these drafts is that it is much more fun to take Tootin than Ray Davis. We kind of know what we got there. We got a fair amount of contingent upside. You might have the goal line back, hopefully, but then with Tootin, you could have Kyron Williams on your rookie Kyron Williams on your hand. That is a much more fun thing to imagine on a cold March morning. Z Rocket Man takes Ingram. He's not the crazy tight end guy. No, he's not. Okay. Morbid Curiosity says, what is Balling Out doing to catch up? He takes Steph Diggs, Amari Cooper, and Adam Thielen. So he has Sutton, Diggs, Amari Cooper, and Adam Thielen. This feels like a disciple of Hit Him with the Gritty. He's got Hurts, Mahomes, and Mayfield. Does Gritty have an alt? I don't think you're allowed to multi-account, but this has. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure this is not Gritty, but this is a very Hit Him with the Gritty team. So his followers are out and they are in the streets today. So if you see Balling Out and you say, oh, he's already has 2 tight ends, he's not going to take a third, I'm going to push him. Don't do it, folks. Don't do it. He's going to get your tight end, and you're going to be bummed out. You are going to be bummed out. So let's see. We are coming up. Interesting choice here. I don't think I want Algier and Bijan, although I don't hate that. I think I am going to take RJ Harvey here. He was a big winner at the combine. I like him as a 5th receiver. I don't think I need a tight end quite yet. And then I'm going to add another quarterback, whether that's I actually thought Justin Fields was still there, and Kevin took Justin Fields. So I probably would have just taken Geno Smith there. Gosh darn it. I messed that up big time, folks. I literally thought there were 2 quarterbacks, and I was just going to take the one. That is not great. So if I want another quarterback, I don't take a lot of Shedeur Sanders because I think Jackson Dart is better than him, but I have a ton of Jackson Dart already. I do think Sanders is likely going to go somewhere and start this year, so I'll take Sanders there. But this was one of those really QB thirsty rooms that happen every now and then, and you can get frozen out at quarterback. So add Sanders to the team. Don't necessarily love it, but when I do have Ridley and Wilson on the team, now I have Ward and Sanders. I got to think I'm going to hit one of those guys is going to end up in either Tennessee or New York. Maybe not, but I'll take these. I'll take these risks here. Harvey can break some long ones. Yeah, I think that's what we saw. I mean, I like him as a 5th running back. I sometimes find myself in this space and he's like my 4th back, or I start taking these like late rookie tight ends in the 4th as my 4th running back. And then I think back to last year at like the Lloyds of the world, the Shipleys of the world, that kind of guy that I was taking around that spot, and like they didn't pan out. Like when you have these rookies, you kind of assume you're going to get production, but you really might be drafting a backup who's like not playing. So I do prefer to start taking them as my 5th and 6th running backs than my 4th. But this might be a lot different though, because these running backs do seem significantly better than last year's class. Like I'd have to imagine Dylan Laube in this year's class, like we're not even aware of his existence. Where last year I was like, this dude from New Hampshire who catches a lot of passes against, FCS Division 6, like this is my guy. Like I'm going to take a ton of him. So hopefully I'm not taking anyone like that this year. And if I am, I'm not taking them at 40%. I have made it a mission that any exposure I have will be an intentional one. I'm not just going to like load up on a guy because of ranks. I'm not just going to load up on a guy because I don't like the guys around him. Like I need to be building intentional exposures. And I know that sounds like kind of dumb, but it's easy to look back on your thing and be like, why do I have 30% of, this guy? Like when I don't really like him that much more than the guy who literally goes and pick after him. So, I think that is something that I've really tried to do this year. And I think I'm doing a better job. Like I have tons of Jack Betch, but I like Jack Betch. Like that's fine. I don't mind if I have too much of him. Like if he sucks, then I was just wrong, right? But like last year, 45% Izzy Abanikanda, and like I didn't even like him that much, but I kind of outsourced some of my thinking and didn't think on my own of like I need to vary this pick. I need to take other guys late in this spot. So I do see why quarterback was extra thin. Razor 33, our good friend here, has to take 4. Love, Dak, Young, and Darnold. And it's like I'd love to make fun of that, but I'm pretty sure the guy who got second in the big board had 4 quarterbacks. So, you never know what's going to work. But That's gotta be bad, right? Like we can't be rewarding that kind of behavior. Like look at all these poor people who are only going to get 2 quarterbacks, or they're going to have to like convince themselves that Russell Wilson's going to play or Aaron Rodgers is the Giants quarterback. A Banacanda is a good E. I don't know what you mean by good E unless you just mean goody, and I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry. Yeah, he is. He's like you're sitting around the campfire with the flashlight like pointed up at your face, and you're like, and then I had 40%. Is he a Banacanda? And everyone screams because they know you lost all your money. That's pretty much me from last season. It just went to 0. But you never know. I mean, you only need one team to do well. Like I literally advanced one big board team to the semis and it made it to the finals. And I didn't even think the team was that great, but it just pod luck. Like you really just need one to somehow survive the gauntlet, make it to the finals, and give yourself a chance. They didn't do anything in the finals. It was actually a double elite tight end team, which I feel like people are kind of out on this year. Even though, in my opinion, it's a little more doable than it has been before. So I'm going to take my guy, Jack Betch. And if this guy takes... I'm going to take Gesicki if he's there. But my God, please don't take 4 tight ends, sir. Please. You need a running back. You only have 3. And one of them's Aaron Jones. Let's see what this guy does. Anomalies. I hear you. I've definitely been there, and editing comments on YouTube is not possible. All right, I'm gonna take Gesicki. I hope you guys didn't lie to me that he got extended. That would be a pretty good bit. Like you tell the streamer, like, oh, this guy got extended, and it's like, JK, they actually just had, open heart surgery. But I will trust that you would not do that to me. And I will add a share of Mike Gesicki to this room. I think at this point, the remaining running backs, receivers are all like dart throws. So I have a lot of Brashard Smith. I think opinions vary a little on whether he was a winner or loser at the combine. His speed was blazing fast, but then his other, his jumps weren't that great. I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass because he is a converted wide receiver. I think teams are going to be interested in this guy. So I'm in on Brashard Smith, but I don't necessarily need to take him every time late in these drafts. So going over the team so far, we got Purdy, and then we got 2 rookies, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders at quarterback, a running back room of Bijan, Josh Jacobs, J.K. Dobbins, Rico Dowdle, and R.J. Harvey. Wide receivers of Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, Luther Burden III, Darnell Mooney, Trey Harris, and Jack Betch, and a tight end room with George Kittle and Mike Gesicki. So 2 dusty tight ends, but you know what? That plays. And my word of caution on rookie tight ends is that we have really been spoiled by the Laporta, McBride, Bowers run that we've had, because prior to that, it's pretty rare for rookie tight ends to be very productive. And you might say, oh, we're in a new world where move over old man, like young tight ends can play, but I'm a little leery that we've learned the lesson, like that there's gonna be a productive rookie tight end every season, and there really just might not be. Could be wrong. I know people are really high on Warren. I know people are interested in Loveland, but I am a little concerned that it doesn't always work that way. And tight ends can be a little slower to develop because, it's kind of a weird job, kind of a dual role. And so again, it's not quite as plug and play as the other positions. So just a word of caution for when you're building your tight end rooms with like 3 rookies is there is a world where you're taking 3, I don't want to say zeros, but 3 low scores each week, because it doesn't always there's not always going to be a Trey McBride in the class. So that is my my word of warning as a dusty old doing this. Beware the rookie tight end hype. So coming around, let's see. I don't think anything too strange has happened. Our friend Balling Out continues to desperately take wide receivers over the age of 35. One of the strangest, my God, Steph Diggs, Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Demario Douglas, DeAndre Hopkins. Like, it feels like if you said the odds that one of this guy's wide receivers retires mid-season is like minus 200. Like, that is the oldest wide receiver room I have ever seen. But then he adds Jalen Tolbert, who bringing some youth with the fourth year player to the team. Justice Hill goes. This Razor guy. All right, so he goes tight end, taking Jatavion, Strange, and Shig. It's certainly one way to build, really just total punt tight end. I built that last year. There's definitely different ways to construct these lineups, but again, it's hard to take lineup construction seriously when someone snaps 4 quarterbacks in a row. But hopefully he doesn't take a heap more tight ends, because that just seems really bad. Michael Wilson, Troy Franklin off. So starting to determine who I'm going to take here. I will likely add a running back and receiver and just take whoever I get at tight end in the last round, because I feel if I'm taking Kittle with pick 50, I'm making a pretty big bet in him. I don't want to go only 2 tight end, having waited till pick 194 to take my second. So I'm going to take, there's so many running backs I think I'm okay with here that I am going to take a guy I haven't taken a ton of, but Liam is high on, Darius Break the Slayton. He's a free agent. Don't know where he's going to go, but he is a random spike week guy. I could see a team. I don't really have a place in mind for him. I could see him adding to a receiver room as like a wide receiver 3, getting a little bit of run and, potentially getting there. I think I'm just going to add Rocket Sanders. He had a really good combine. Big back with some speed. I feel like there's going to be a role for this guy in the NFL. I was made aware of him by Sacrilegious kind of early in the big board process. I saw him drafting him. I hadn't heard much about him, and I think he had a pretty good combine. So happy to end the running back room with him. Yeah, we have been spoiled with rookie tight end production, usually a position that takes longer to develop. They have to be a receiver and a blocker, a lot to learn. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a tough position to play. And it does seem like it's also that not every team uses tight ends in the same way. Like, it's not like comparing wide receiver, which, you're going to have different schemes and stuff, but it's, if you're asked to block and not go out to pass, like, you just cannot catch a pass on that play, which happens a lot. And I think actually Kittle was victim to this sometimes, is that he's such a good blocker that, when the Niners were down some of their offensive linemen, he was staying into block a little more than one might expect. But I think last year was pretty weird for the Niners, and he still was hyper productive. And I think the Niners are going to bounce back. Niners are going to bounce back this year with a whole off season to retool. Juwan Johnson goes at 229. Would have loved to add him. Definitely a little bit of smoke that he'd be the tight end in Denver, which I think if he signs with Denver, you're not going to be able to get Juwan Johnson in the 20th round anymore. Obviously, you don't take him every time because he might not go to Denver, But I do think he is a value late in drafts that might evaporate in the next few days. Tyler Lockett goes at pick 230. Oh my God, this guy with his ancient room took Tyler Lockett. My God. Okay. Balling Out is definitely competing with Hit 'Em with the Gritty for, I don't know for what, but for something. But I will be taking a tight end. It is getting pretty thin here. The question for me will be, well, Bo Kevin is coming up, and we will see what Bo Kevin does, because he might take a tight end also. So I will, you know what? I was going to say Michael Mayer, but Jack Klein is hearing the same rumors. All of us are, that Mayer might be on the move, or at least offered out there. So that was going to be my break class in case of emergency tight end pick. And he just went. So hopefully I get a guy with a pulse. Man, Gunnar Helm. If I could trade all my Gunnar Helm shares for a mystery box, I would. So Bo Kevin takes Taylor, who had the most beautiful gauntlet drill you'll ever see. I will take Elijah Arroyo from the Miami Hurricanes. Add a little Miami flair to the team. And yeah, I wish I could run another one, but I really can't. I don't have another. This draft really took almost a full hour. But I'll go over the team. It is Purdy, Cam Ward, and Shadur Sanders at quarterback, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, J.K. Dobbins, Rico Dowdle, and R.J. Harvey and Raheem Sanders at running back. My foster cat just walked in and scared the heck out of me because I thought I was home alone and my door opened. Wide receiver room of Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, Luther Burden, Darnell Mooney, Trey Harris, Jack Betch, and Darius Slayton, with tight ends of George Kittle, Mike Gesicki, and Elijah Arroyo. So that will do it. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. It's definitely more fun to do these, chatting with you all. If I jump in another one, I'll mention it in the Matic Discord. So thanks again, and I will talk to y'all soon. Take care.